Actually, I've got one gadget down. I had two microphones on. One feels a bit safer. Thanks very much. Firstly, I'm massively appreciative to be here. One thing I've found lately is that, especially coming from where I am, just to even have an opportunity to speak to people is just such a blessing. Having that opportunity coming from a position where I didn't even think I could be doing something like this, to 15 months later being in a position like this. And I also thank all you ladies that give me the opportunity to work here and work with the kids here, because that's something else I love. That's something I do after school. But where I'm at right now, at a 20-year-old, I'm someone who, like Kieran, is running a business very different, but in alignment, where we work with people to discover more for themselves. What I do is I work one-on-one with people who A, are facing something in their life that they want to overcome, some sort of a barrier. B, people that want to maximize who they are and what they're doing, so in terms of achievement and who they are, becoming a better version of themselves. And 3 is people who just want to find fulfillment in who they are. People who just want to be able to love their life. Because really that's what we're all going for, a feeling where we can just be happy every single day. Kieran talked about what does success mean to you. I came up with a quote not so long ago where it says, learn to love your life every single day and success has already come your way. Simple. When you feel that way, you have so much more to give to other people. When you're in a state of happiness, when you're in a state of health, you have so much to give to other people. So one-on-one with these people, and my mission now is really to bring and help people find personal success and personal fulfillment in their lives. But what I really want to share is how in a 15-month time period, I went from someone with no ambition, no major desire, to someone who lives fulfilled, lives purposefully every single day. And my mum is here, and she'll be able to tell you what I say is exactly right. I came from a position where I was just following what was going on around me. I would say a result of my environment, meaning whatever environment we're put into, we tend to develop into, the people that you're around, you grow into that kind of a person. The influence that you have, you grow into that kind of person without actually specifically choosing your path, choosing who you want to be. And I came to that realization about 15 months ago. So I finished school in 2011, I believe, and coming out of school, I felt 2 things. I can remember them very, very specifically. I enjoyed school up until year 12. Year 13 was just 1 year too long, but I stuck it out. Last day of high school, 2 feelings. 1, pure freedom. Didn't worry about what I had to do next in my life. I just thought pure freedom. Second one was that I never have to learn again. I got sick of what I was learning. It's funny because this day I've actually got my own bookshelf. That's another story. But so what I did is I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had no idea. So in saying that I decided not to go to university right away, I went to a party and I met a couple of girls, actually they were friends from high school, told me they were going to America. When you're in a party, you're in a pretty good state of mind, and so I decided that I would join them in America. They said they were going to a summer camp. So quite, I wouldn't say ignorantly, but unresponsibly, we said yes to the first summer camp that would have us. It was the only summer camp that was taking 18-year-olds. This was a summer camp called Texas Lions Camp, which is a camp for kids with physical disabilities. So here I am at 18, never really worked with kids except pre-coaching, and there's 3 counselors all around, same age, 18 to 24, who have to take about 10 to 12 kids who might have cerebral palsy, might be blind, might be deaf. You have to change their diapers. You get 1 week of training, but you're sitting there listening to someone speak about what to do. You get real experience once you're out in the field. You'll know that coming out of uni and what you learn in uni is very different to going into your workplace. You learn then and there. So something like this, when you're thrown in the deep end, yeah, you're forced to learn. You can't just tell a kid to look after themselves. You've got to be the one there. And yeah, we got some incredible stories. But what I found, the biggest thing was, 10 weeks at a summer camp. Kids come there, a lot of the kids get bullied, a lot of the kids have rough times because, they stand up, they don't get the same opportunities as us, and you just putting in the energy, just putting in the effort for these kids for 1 week, they always say at summer camp, the best week of your year. The kids will leave in tears, but I think I would have found myself in tears more often than that. I found myself in a state never seen before. Those 10 weeks were up, I felt, a desire to work with people, to help some people improve in some way. 4 months went by in the States. Bear in mind, this is at age 18. You're traveling alone. My mum didn't even come out to the airport that day. She called me in the morning. I'm so upset, I love you. So those 4 months were good. Life experience, again, you're thrown into a situation where you have to learn. You have to just go along with whatever's happening. And my mum doesn't know a lot of the stories of what happened in the US at age 18, but I'm grateful for them. Opportunities to grow. Opportunities to grow is what I had. But again, coming back to New Zealand, a few months, it was crunch time, decision time. I sat down with my brother, who was my life advisor at the time, which is somehow what I've become. He seems to be the one for me. He was very successful in accounting at university, one of the top students at our university, very smart, very bright guy, someone I admired. And I said, what are my options? He said, you've got 2 options. Number 1 was that you can find a job. Find a job that is suitable for you and work to the top. Sounded all right? Second option, go to university, get a head start and work your way out that way. I said, head start sounds good. That's essentially what most people are doing. I had friends doing business. I felt I wasn't that creative. I seemed to be good in accounting and economics. I went and did that myself. So going to uni, I had very high expectations that there was this buzz around university. What was everyone doing there? I needed to find out for myself. And to me, I put in a lot of effort there and I did quite well. But it got to that point where I kind of felt like I was back in school, meaning I was learning things which were great, but I was learning stuff that I couldn't apply right now, and I didn't feel were helping me grow, which at that stage of my life was what I was all about, trying all these new things, doing, traveling, meeting new people all the time. And so, to the disregard of my mother, to my brother, to my aunties, to my uncles, to many of my friends, Karen lasted 4 months, I lasted 9 weeks. Before first exams. Now, I think, education, I think university is amazing. For me at the time, it wasn't the right fit, and I knew it. I decided to go over to Australia. Now, a bit changed in this time, and I was introduced to something called personal development, which was basically learning and reading from people who might be very successful in business, or might have different life philosophies, or have studied very particular areas of life. And what I did is when I read these books, something like, a book like, probably the first one was Think and Grow Rich, which was written in 1940, meaning the only books I'd ever read until age, 17 were Harry Potter. 7 Harry Potter books, probably read them all twice, only books I read. And then I read a book from 1940 which studied the most 500 successful people in this time, and in various areas of life, people like Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and it talked about why these people did what they did. And so I got into books like this, and I started learning, opening my mind up again, and I went to Australia. I decided, I had a job there in sales, I went over to Australia. And I kept reading, and I needed to make some friends there. So I went onto a site called meetup.com. You can find any interest you like, get around people into a group environment where people are doing the same stuff. Sound cool? And I started meeting cool people. I started meeting young people who were going after various things in life. Like Kieran said, this guy Jackson was inspired when he got around people. One of the people I met was a kid who was 18, and he loved basketball, so he started building a brand of basketball journalism. He's now 19, 1 year out of high school. He's built a company worth $30 million. He donates a ton of money to people. He travels around the world doing what he loves. You hear a story like that, and you start questioning some things that you're doing. Not because of money, but because he's doing something he loves. He's impacting a lot of people. I met another kid who was from an area at age 18, he was a Samoan, so an area like West Auckland, just in Sydney, and his passion was to help people in that area get out of just working in factories and just, not even getting an education, help them do personal development and go into business around that. And I met people like this and said, well, what do I love? And I started doing personal development, and when you learn something, like when you learn a new skill, get inspired, you feel like you've grown. I wanted to share that some way. Kieran talked about this thing called Facebook. You know Facebook? Yeah, some of us? Well, we'll run a tutorial class next time. But I started sharing on Facebook. It's a way to reach people. With the help of this guy, Alex, I was able to build a Facebook page to about 3,000 people where I could just share stuff that I was about, stuff about life, stuff about doing what you love, stuff about who you are, stuff about being grateful, things like this. And people would eventually write into me. Just write and say, hey, I'm going through this, or hey, can you help me with this? Hey, I want more motivation. I said, sure. I would write back to them all. It seemed like the kind of thing to do. Eventually I decided, hang on, why don't I Skype this person? We all know what Skype is? Why don't I Skype this person? Have a face-to-face conversation with them. And I worked with someone for about 2 sessions, help them become more motivated, help them become more passionate about what they did, and give them a strategy to move forward. I didn't charge them, I just said, I'll do it for you. They loved it. They came back to me and said, that was amazing, you've changed my course about what I'm doing. What's more, like summer camp, I got far more out of it than they did. I really, really loved it, and I said, next person I'm going to do the same thing. And eventually I started Skyping people. Younger, the oldest person I worked with was someone who was 26. The youngest person I worked with who was about 16. And I started loving it. I didn't know at the time there was something called life coaching, where you could work with someone to help maximize what they're doing. But then again, I met some of these people who were life coaches, and they inspired me to keep following that and keep following that. So, to keep time short, over the last 12 months, I've started building this, I guess, as a business in some way, And I got it to a point where, I'm blessed because my dad lives in Cambodia, leaving me a house, which is nice. Very low expenses, meaning if I choose not to go and work, I don't have to work because whatever money I make, I just pay for food and pay to grow my business and survive, and I can put focus onto learning and living a great life. And so now, my focus is at the moment working one-on-one with people. Eventually, I want to go onto crowds. I don't know if you know someone called Anthony Robbins, but next month he's been my biggest mentor in about 3 weeks. I get to go to a seminar, which has been something I've been looking forward to for a long time. But it's just been crazy for me that over 15 months I went from someone who was hanging out with the same people, following what most people do in high school, unpassionate, not unfulfilled, but just living for weekends, to someone every day right now how I can say it's a dilemma for me and Kieran is that we're so appreciative of just living in Devonport, just having a house, having a beautiful mother, having amazing relationships in my life, that we just feel like comfortable with everything, and it's hard to actually go out and push yourself further and further when you're so happy in where you are. But also the people that I've met, I've got friends who are multimillionaires, authors, health coaches. I get free coaching from 2 guys who charge very highly for coaching, and it's just crazy to me that in a 15-month period you can do something like this when you really just get set on something. So I've had to look back on this and be like, okay, what's actually happened here so that I can teach this forward to other people. And now on Thursday I'm sending my book off for publication. I just finished about a 200-page book, which again came just out of nowhere. Someone just suggested it, and I decided to do it. But really the message that I want to get across through Kieran and I is that, the way things are happening for young people are very different now, meaning the way we can learn is if you ask someone, okay, question is, say, who was the Prime Minister 10 years ago? Well, a kid will give it to you in the space of about 4 seconds if you give them a cell phone. We can learn very, very rapidly. So the way that we're learning now has changed a lot. The way that people are making money now has changed a lot. The way that we're interacting now has changed a lot. So me and Kieran are really trying to share that with people and just representing who you are and becoming the best version of yourself. I think that's what we're here for. The 2 things that I want to touch on really that have changed my life completely is, number 1, appreciation. I always felt like I had to get something to be appreciative, and instead of realizing my whole life I've been getting stuff, why don't I just stop and take a look around at what I already have? Because no matter who you are, where you are, there's always someone in a position who would be so envious to you. No matter your emotional state, there's someone who's envious to you, and if you find appreciation in that, again, you have so much more to give, and you have so much more to give in every conversation. And the second one is that your fulfillment is never about what you get, what you achieve, but who you are as a person. So always focusing on that. One thing I say in business is grow yourself before you focus on your business. Right? Your business is going to be a result of who you are as a person. Your life is going to be a result of who you are as a person. So that's one thing I focus on absolutely massively. And I will not take any more time, but if you guys have questions or anything, I'll be more than happy to answer that. And if you have people in Devonport, young, old, that you want to talk to, chat with, I'm more than happy to sit down and talk with them.
What's the book?
What's the book on?
What's the book called?
It's called Live More, Achieve More, Become More. And then the subline is Elevate Your Reality. And I can explain that really, really quickly. I named it before understanding what it meant. And basically, it sounded cool. I always loved talking in 3s, like this, and this. So live, achieve, become. And the simplest is that's all we need, that's all we do in life. Number 1 is live, meaning in essence, all we were created to was live. When I talk about having a life that you love, just living life, there's so much here to enjoy. Get experiences, meet people, look after your health, explore different areas of the world. There's so much to do just to live. The second one, achieve, is giving your gift to the world, meaning whatever you have, building that, enhancing that, and then giving it to other people in some way. That's what I see achievement as. It's not the cards that you're dealt with in your life, but how you play those cards. Whatever you have, give that. And then the third one is, like I talked about becoming, is just becoming the best version of yourself. You're remembered, for who you were as a person. And it's simple. Answer your question? Awesome. I appreciate you guys using it.